What's going on, guys? It's Mike for Sim Racing 604, and today we're going to be talking about force feedback for Assetto Corsa. Most of us quickly boot up the game when we buy it. We have our wheel hooked up. If we own a decent wheel like a T300 or T500 or G29 or something like that, we figure that the default settings in Assetto Corsa are good enough, and that is mostly true to Assetto Corsa's credit and kudos. They have done a great job with the default setup, but it's not perfect, and we can get you very close to perfect in about 10 minutes. And I gotta say, I don't take any of the credit for this. This was actually a Reddit post about 5 months ago by Serial Thriller, and it's really the way to go to set up your force feedback. But to help you sort of visualize it, I'm going to walk you through it. So there's actually three things we need to download to get this started. The first one is the FFB clip app, available through Race Department. This is version 4.3.3. As you can see, it's a very small app. It installs, there's installation instructions through Race Department, so I won't get into it. But if you've installed mods for Assetto Corsa before, it's no different than that. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to and install FFB clip. Secondly, we need to install a loot generator, LUT lookup table. So also on Race Department, LUT generator for AC 0.15 will need to be downloaded. It's another small file, but critical none the same, and it's actually not an app for Assetto Corsa. What you're going to do is you're going to download a zip file and extract that zip file. So I'll just quickly walk you through that. And I apologize for my messy desktop and file structure here, but what you're going to actually download somewhere in this mess is LUT generator underscore 015, and that is a zip file, and you need to extract it, and I have actually extracted it to a different folder. But what you're going to end up with is LUT generator 015 extracted. Double click on it, it's another subfolder, and it's just simply these two files, but we're not going to use them just yet. Just go ahead and download that, unzip it, and just make note of where you unzip that to. Third one we need to download is wheel check. So when you're in the LUT generator page on Race Department, it right at the top makes reference to wheel check. You click that link, and it's actually a Dropbox link, so you can download wheel check version 1.72, which is a program that you're going to run. It's actually a iRacing program, but we're going to use it for Assetto Corsa. Now, once you, and I'll just see where I installed this, I don't actually remember. Did I install it here? No, I must have installed it to downloads. Okay, sorry. It can just be run straight from the zip file. So when you run it, it pops up this screen. So iRacing force feedback test version 1.72, and what this is going to do is it's going to test your wheel. Every wheel is a little bit different, and it's going to create a map of your specific wheel, and just test it out for you to help get your force feedback perfect and eliminate any potential dead zones. So the test you want to run, and all you need to do is use, well, first you got to make sure max count is set to 50 or higher. I just left it as 50. Quite frankly, I don't know what that count is, but they recommend no less than 50, so that's what I went with, 50. And where it says disabled under spring force, use the drop down and choose step log 2. I'm not actually going to do it, but when you select that, it's going to run a test. For me, my wheel just started kicking a little bit left, a little further left, a little bit further left, and so on and so on. The whole test took somewhere between 30 seconds and a minute. And what that actually does is it generates a CSV file, a comma separated values file. So under my documents, what it created was this file here, this log2 and then today's date and the time. So all it is a bunch of data that won't mean anything to you or me, but it will mean something to a program we installed previously, which was the LUT generator. So when we go back to our LUT generator, I'm sorry, I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but this will make sense when you actually do it. So if we go back into our LUT generator, it's going to ask us to open the CSV file and save the LUT. And we tell it where that CSV file is. So in this case, it saved it to my documents. We double click it, and then it's going to ask us to save it somewhere. Now, in this case, we want to leave it at the default folder. So the default folder is Documents, Assetto Corsa, and then the CFG or config folder. Just the root CFG is fine, and it's going to automatically give it the .lut extension. And what I did was called it my LUT, lowercase my, uppercase LUT. So go ahead and save that. I'm not going to because I already have mine done, but go ahead and save that. And then that brings us to the last step. So if we, actually the second to last step. So if we go back to my documents and open up Assetto Corsa and then that CFG folder we just looked at, the force feedback, is it the force feedback? Sorry, I'm blanking here. Yes, force feedback post-process. So open up the force feedback post-process file. If you right-click it, choose Open With and choose Notepad, that's good enough. And make sure this is what it says. Take careful notes here. This is a good time to pause the video and do your own editing. So make sure version is 1, type equals LUT. It's not that by default. You want to tell it to look for a lookup table. So type equals LUT, and then gamma value is 0.5, and the LUT curve, this is where you tell it to look for your lookup table that you just created. So in this case, like I said, I called mine my LUT, lowercase my, uppercase LUT, and that's all you need to do. Then you just hit File and Save, and we can go ahead and close out of this. I've already saved this, so I don't need to. Okay, so now you've told the game exactly where to look for the values to your specific wheel. So we're flying along here, we're doing great. So the only thing left to do is to open up Assetto Corsa and enable the force feedback clip app. So let's go ahead and run that. And RAR Lab, you're welcome for the free plug. So the FFB clip app that we ran already, or that we installed already, is what we need to get going here. So if you watched my last few videos, you will have seen this in the lower left corner. So I'm just going to go main menu, go to my options, general, and make sure that FFB clip is in fact turned on. And then we'll go out onto the track here. Let's see, yeah, that's fine. Alright, so this is actually take 2. I realized that Camtasia doesn't record in-game, it only records the first few screens, the menu screens. So we're on board here. The only other thing we got to do while we're in-game is make sure that FFB clip is enabled. So it will be this one here with the squiggly line in the middle. Click it and you will get this box come up. It is currently set to manual. It's important that you set it to auto. And what that's going to do is it's going to automatically adjust the force feedback. So you'll see once I start rolling, you will see it drop there. Okay, so I just did a burnout, but you get the point. So it makes a recommendation in the yellow, and it sets it to 83%, and it sets it to match that. And if you feel that's too low, you can manually adjust your force speed feedback to a little bit above that, but try not to go above 100% because it's going to add effects and take away from your feel. But all you need to know is to enable it in game and to choose auto. The only other thing left to do is to go into your controller settings, go to advanced, make sure your gain is set to 100%. If you're finding that the FFB clip app is making it too strong for you, you can dial the gain down. If it's too soft, do not dial it beyond 100%. It's going to add, and it's going to make your force feedback worse. The other ones you have to worry about are road effects and curb effects. Everything else should be off, by the way. Curb effects, obviously, it adds force feedback artificially. You will still be able to feel curbs with the default setup at 0, but if you add more curb, and you can add just a little bit to get a lot. So if you add a little bit of curb, you're going to feel the curbs a lot more. Road effects, I added 1% to it just to feel the road a bit more. You can do the same with slip effects. If you're finding that you just can't feel through the wheel that the car is understeering, then you can add the enhanced understeer effect. But in general, these three should be set to 0, or if that's not working for you, if you're just not getting enough feel of the road, if you're not getting enough feel of the curbs or a little bit of slip, you can add, but I would say a little bit goes a long way. So increase them in increments of 1% at a time. I know that seems like nothing, but you do not want to get up into the sort of 50% range. Otherwise, you're going to lose feel of the car. So it should be as low as you can go, but it has to work for you. So add a single percent at a time to get it where you like. So that is it. So the best thing to do with this is, as far as adding curb, road, and slip effects, is to just take your favorite vehicle out to your favorite track and just see how it feels, because you've changed quite a bit since you watched this video. So don't be surprised if at first it feels a little weird, but you can add these 3 effects to enhance your experience. But again, don't add too much. And just do it with your favorite car at your favorite track, because you know how it should feel, you know what your time should be, and you may find that very, very soon you'll get dramatically better times. Not long after I set this, I beat a previous best time by 2.5 seconds, which I thought was pretty incredible. And I've just about improved on every single hot lap I've ever done since I changed the force feedback, and I think there's quite something to be said. Sometimes it's very minor, but other times, like I said, it's 2.5 seconds, which is very drastic. So I hope this helped, guys. You're probably gonna have to watch this a bunch more times, but hopefully this steers you look at that pun. Hopefully this gets you steered in the right direction for setting your force feedback. Don't underestimate the effect that your force feedback can have on your experience with the Assetto Corsa. Okay, I'm out of breath. You have a new wheel to play with, and thank you so much for watching. And please feel free to ask questions, or again, the real credit of this belongs to Serial Thriller on Reddit. So if you have further questions, he or she can probably explain it better. So just do a quick Google search for that post. But I hope this helped visualize it for you guys, and thank you for watching.